Hello, everybody. Nika here with your daily neuro nugget. I hope you're having an amazing Thursday. It is Thirsty Thursday, and you might want to grab something to drink because the guilters have lost their mind. And look, if you're new to this channel, I don't care if you're a guilter, I don't care if you're pro burger, a hamburger, whatever you choose to identify as, you're not going to hurt my feelings, babe. At the end of the day, we are here to talk about factual information as well as theories, so don't get your panties in a bunch, right? Now, today, I want to talk about Bryan Kohberger because we have honestly all been waiting for this. We knew this day was going to come where he, through his defense, was going to say, I was framed. Oh my God, I was framed. I didn't do it, right? And we don't know. I personally was not there. This is why in a democracy, we assume people are innocent until proven guilty, right? And that right actually does extend to Mr. Bryan Kohberger. So just a friendly reminder to all of you that may not be from democratic nations, or maybe you are in America, but you don't understand what a democracy means. That's what it means. You're welcome for your education, right? Now, we're going to talk about this because it's a very triggering topic. The news channels have gone wild with titles like Bryan Kohberger, I was framed, or Bryan Kohberger, the evidence was planted. And that's why we need to talk about it. Because again, you and I, who have been keeping tabs on this case since 2.5 years ago, right? We have just 5 more months or so until trial. We know all of the ins and outs that there are to know. Of course, there's still a lot of information that has been withheld. We know there is a gag order, but it's like, what did people expect? So, of course, we have the guilters saying that is how you know Bryan Kohberger committed this crime. Now he's saying, oh my God, I was framed. I didn't do it. And then he's blaming his autism. Oh, but I have autism. It's like, well, let's get into the nitty gritty of this, shall we? I just wanted to share a couple of comments that I saw on some of the random YouTube channels talking about this. And this is just to give you guys a perspective from the guilters, right? Okay, it says, it was planted. I was stargazing. I am autistic. My rights were violated. He's playing every single card in the deck. And I'm like, sir, okay? This is a comment on a YouTube video that has 60, 70 likes here, and it's obvious that they don't know anything, right? Because when we have covered the documents talking about the stargazing, it never said that he was stargazing. Again, this is why it's so important to pay attention to the legal documents that are dropped, because things get taken out of context very, very quickly. Also, he's not saying that I'm not being held accountable because I'm autistic. That is not what he's saying at all, right? My rights were violated. I mean, well, were they? Because it seems that Moscow Police Department and the feds don't have any way to show their work whenever they are asked. Show your work. How did you get the DNA? Why is now the DNA inconclusive? Why is it inconclusive? Why can't you show your work? Why is the state still hiding the standard operating procedures that were supposed to have been shown to Ann Taylor and the defense? Why are they still hiding that, right? It's not that he's playing every single card in the deck. It's that is literally the job of a very good lawyer. That is what they are supposed to do. But again, this is just a guilter with minimal information. This is how you know sheep from people with neurons left, with brain cells left. Okay, they run with whatever they see on the media, with whatever they see Nancy Disgrace or News Nation spewing. They run with it and believe it. Okay, and the thing is that people saying that Bryan Kohberger is reaching, that Ann Taylor is reaching about this evidence being planted, about him being framed, is it reaching? Is it actually reaching? Because for, again, those of us, me and all of you guys here, the intelligent people in here that have brain cells left, you guys understand that this case doesn't make sense when we are separated emotionally from Bryan Kohberger, because I don't care about Bryan Kohberger if he's guilty or not. If he did it, he did it, right? Show me the evidence. When you are showing me a crime where Maddie has the DNA of 3 people under her fingernails, and we're supposed to pretend that that doesn't exist, that's a big red flag. You guys do understand that, right? Because then that's kind of showing that potentially other people were in the house. Don't forget that on top of Maddie having the DNA of 3 other people under her fingernails, there were also 2 other sources of unknown male DNA in the house. And how do we know that it is male? That means that it must have been tested. But it's very likely that because these 2 unknown males were not in CODIS, there was probably not enough DNA to have been followed up on. But still, 2 other people were at the crime scene. And don't get me started about the 911 call that was never made by the roommates, right? Because we have ran out of time. We have ran out of excuses for these 2 roommates, for these 2 survivors, right? It's been 2.5 years. Again, we all gave them the benefit of the doubt time and time again. It's like, look, they're young women. They were probably drunk. They maybe even used some illegal substances. They could have not known what was going on. Maybe, just maybe, they were frozen in shock. And come to find out, 911 call is released. Transcripts are released. And what is it looking like? It's looking like these 2 ladies are full of shit. That's what it's looking like, right? So another comment by a low IQ individual. I've actually been waiting for the "it was planted" defense. There's no other defense, and that alone is enough to convict him. But is it though? Because again, it's touch DNA. You guys know I was active military. I was active duty military, okay? In the military settings, we do not allow this sort of idiotic touch DNA to be used in courts. We definitely do not allow touch DNA to be utilized in courts where there's a DP case, death penalty case, right? We don't do that. It's touch DNA. And if you guys do your research, you will understand that most countries, in fact, do not allow touch DNA to be used in criminal courts because, again, we understand how touch DNA works. You shake somebody's hand and they shake their hand and then they touch the gas pump and blah, blah, blah. And 6 people later, guess what? Your touch DNA could be on that person. So why don't y'all just leave your touch DNA and hit the like button while you're at it, right? Now, guilters, and the real killer ordered the knife on Amazon, drove the white Hyundai, and had the phone with the info in it. Again, a person with low IQ, a person who is just a follower, a person who follows the masses commenting here, because there has been nothing to point us to the fact that there was any sort of weapon ordered on Amazon. In fact, we know that there was nothing found on Kohberger's Amazon purchases or any other purchases pointing to any weapon being purchased. That is why the state is reaching. Okay, if anybody is reaching here, it's not Ann Taylor, baby. It is the state. They are reaching. You know why? Because since they're like, well, we couldn't really find any weird Amazon transactions, why don't we just instead use his clicks? Really, Billy boy? Really, Santa Claus? Is that what we're going to resort to? We're going to resort to his clicks, meaning Amazon can track back everything that you have clicked on. How long have you looked at an item? How long have you checked out an item for? Even if you did not add it to your cart on Amazon, they are still tracking your every click, your every movement, everything you type in the search bar. So they're like, well, we didn't find any weird purchases, but why don't we just see what he clicked on instead? And maybe we can use that information against us. And people are saying, that's weird. Why is Bryan Kohberger, why doesn't he want them to have that information? If he did not click on anything weird, then why is he hiding it? It's like, why would you give the state more ammunition to use against you? That would be idiotic. Not to mention, do you guys know the type of things I have to click on? Do you know the types of things that I have to Google and search just to be able to talk about true crime? And when I was getting my master's in psychology, a lot of criminal classes as well, criminal psychology classes, do you guys know what we Google? Okay, if the feds were literally allowed to raid my accounts, my laptops, whatever, they'd be like, she must be a serial unaliver because OMG, the things she has Googled, the things she has clicked on, the images that she has seen. It's like, bro, stop painting me as something I am not. I'm literally just learning here, right? For my master's in psychology. It's like, we had to click on these things. So yeah, of course, it's the intelligent thing for Bryan Kohberger and the defense to not want to share the clicks. That would be idiotic. Again, you are just giving more ammunition to Billy Boy. And if Bryan Kohberger is a person who truly believes in his own innocence and he actually believes that he is being framed here, if there was actual evidence being planted to frame this man, why would you trust the state? You would not, right? You would not. That'd be silly, right? Another low IQ person. His defense is so desperate. Like, all criminals make this claim. I'm sure it's laughable. That is actually, it's her comment is laughable, right? Because the defense is not desperate. The defense is doing what they're supposed to be doing. If you look at cases just like this one, you'll see a good lawyer is supposed to be doing this. And if you ever find yourself in this situation, I pray to God that you also get a lawyer as good as Ann Taylor, as good as the entire defense team, right? They're supposed to be doing this. And let's be real, a lot of criminals who do commit crimes don't make this claim that they were framed. A lot of the times they admit or they cave to their guilt. Whereas, what have we seen with Bryan Kohberger? He's remained steady in his answer of not guilty, right? Somebody said he was studying to be a serial unaliver and forensic student. He was studying to be a serial unaliver? That is the most idiotic comment I have ever effing seen. One of the most. We'll say the top 10. First of all, I don't think you can go to school to get a degree to become a serial unaliver, right? Maybe a forensic student, maybe, but you don't go to school for that. I'm going to jump out here and assume that most people are not going to do 8 to 12 years of school just to be able to get away with a crime, okay? Most of them don't do that because you could just learn from other sources, right? Most criminals learn from YouTube, the dark web, whatsoever, right? So isn't it a coincidence that of all the millions of people in the US, the touch DNA just happened to match someone who lived a few miles away? Now, I can understand why people are commenting these types of things, right? But at the same time, you have to remember, the only match that we have, the only statistical match that we have is supposedly the one on the sheath. Remember, okay, they did not find this sheath that was apparently next to Maddie Mogan or under Maddie Mogan. They didn't find it until their second round. That's weird. That's weird. Now, we'll give the cops, we'll give the investigators the benefit of the doubt. We're like, okay, fine. Maybe it was a bloody mess. Maybe it was under Maddie. I suppose if there's a gory mess that one could miss the sheath, right? But then we learn that there's only one source of DNA on the sheath, and it's inside of the snap button of the sheath. By the way, I have made a couple of videos a while ago where I showed you guys my K-bar, my military K-bar up close. Go watch that video because I'm literally showing you guys all of the tiny crevices of the stitching. Okay, it's very fine stitching. These K-bars are made very, very well. The stitching is, it's all over the sheath, right? So we're supposed to believe that there was no other DNA on this sheath except for just a tiny dab of touch DNA on the button. Really? Because I would think that if this sheath had been missed the first go round, the first search, that it's probably because, again, it was a gory mess. At the very minimum, it would have two sources of DNA. The one found allegedly on the snap sheath or on the snap button of the sheath, and Maddie Mogen's DNA. But have we heard anything about Maddie Mogen's DNA being on it? Are we supposed to believe that this sheath was perfectly clean, crisp, clear, no other sources of DNA except for this magic touch DNA? And what did I say 2.5 years ago? I said that PCA, the description of that sheath, the description of that DNA on this button sure sounds a lot like it was planted, right? And by the way, touch DNA degrades very quickly and much more quickly on some surfaces versus others. In this type of material here on a button, it would have degraded extremely quickly. But again, they found it how many hours later? It's almost impossible. Not to mention, this person, this idiot who said the touch DNA just happened to match someone else who lived a few miles away. But did it? Because what did we learn in the most recent documents? We learned that the laboratories found that the DNA was all inconclusive, which means what? Which means we don't know who the fuck it belongs to, right? How are you guys doing, by the way? Happy Thursday. If you guys are coming in a little bit late, I forgive you, babe. I know. I get on here randomly because I work 2 jobs. So I wish I could give you guys a heads up when I'm going to go live. But if you're just coming in here, please watch this live from the very beginning. You can play it times 1.5 or 2 because some of you guys don't like the speed of my voice. Just change the speed. YouTube gives you that option, okay? YouTube is great for that. So let me know if you guys are enjoying this video so far. Please give it a thumbs up. Why not? We're here. We're here to get to the bottom of this. Give it a thumbs up. Somebody saying, he is cooked, justice is coming. And people are also saying that Mr. Bryan Kohberger, all he wants to do is prove that he can get away with this type of crime, with this gruesome crime, and that he's trying every trick in the book. Now, going back to that comment that I just shared with you, talking about that the touch DNA just happened to match someone who lived a few miles away. You know what's interesting? What's very interesting is that 2 years ago, I made about 5 videos talking about the private driver, talking about how I felt about him, and also talking about my concerns regarding the proximity he claimed in some interviews he gave to have to Bryan Kohberger. And I'm talking about the physical proximity, right? Because he allegedly did some interviews and said that he lived like 1,200 feet away from Bryan Kohberger. And I will try to attach that in the description so you guys can go through that interview. But please go watch all of my old videos on Eric Gower. And what did I speculate in the very beginning? If you've been here since the beginning of time supporting this channel, do you guys remember what I speculated? I said, how fucking weird is it that this private driver is doing all these interviews? Supposedly it was him. He gave, whoever did the interview gave the name of Eric Gower, saying that he lived just a few hundred feet, 1,200 feet from Kohberger. Not only that, but oh my God, Kohberger is creepy. Oh my God, my wife was afraid of Kohberger. Not only that, but that his wife also has extremely close ties to the police department. Eric Gower has extremely close ties to the police department. In those old videos, guys, I went through images that I have of Eric Gower playing Santa Claus for Moscow PD, doing all this volunteer work with Moscow PD. Then we find out that he was the last person to see the victims alive. Typically, in this sort of crime, in this sort of investigation, the last person to have seen them alive, allegedly, one of the last people to have contact with the victims, Kaylee and Maddie, is usually a person who is heavily investigated. My assumption back in the day was that he was not looked at into heavily. Why? Because of his close ties with Moscow PD. What did I tell you guys in the beginning? I told you that a lot of psychopathic people, and I'm not saying Eric is psychopathic. I don't know that kid. I don't know that man. All I'm saying is that a lot of psychopathic people, a lot of dark criminals like to hide out in plain sight. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You know that image that a lot of us have of a serial unaliver? Serial Killer, because if I say the word, they don't show this video as much. That image that we have of the incel, he's like creepy, like with dark hair, and we know this is a psychological thing as well, right? They almost always paint the villains like Disney, usually with dark hair, right? They're usually not like that, okay? Most psychopaths usually look very normal and they are very involved in their communities. If you guys don't believe me, please go watch that movie Bernie that I talked about with Jack Black, based on a true story, right? Of a criminal who was heavily involved in his community, his church. He was helping everybody in town. And when he was finally discovered to have unalived people, nobody believed that he had done it. How? He's an angel. He's a great person. He's always doing community service. People are so easily entertained, so easily manipulated, because if a person goes out and helps the community, apparently that means they're a fucking perfect angel. And it's like, you do realize that you're an idiot, right? You do realize that these psychopaths can brainwash people. And all they have to say is, oh, I pick drunk girls from the university because I'm a helpful fella. I do volunteer work for the cops. My wife also volunteers work. And let's not forget, Kohberger lived 1,200 feet away from me, allegedly, but my wife was always not fond of him. She always thought he was a creepy incel. What did I speculate 2 years ago? I said, well, just a theory, just a theory. Don't get your panties in a bunch, okay? I had said that it's really weird that he only lives 1,200 feet away, if he did live 1,200 feet away, because that means he's very close, right, to Bryan Kohberger's door. What is to stop him from going to pick some DNA from his doorknob, right? And now that we know that Eric is buddies with the police department, if a cop friend is like, hey, Eric, theory, speculation, if a cop friend is like, hey, can you go maybe rub this doorknob down? I mean, they are your cop buddies. I mean, is it far-fetched? Let me know what you think. Let me know if that irked you. Let me know if that triggered you. And now, what else do we know about Eric? Well, we know that he was also being texted by Miss Dylan Mortensen. Why were you texting Eric at 2:10? Are you driving? Is that code for something? Why was she texting him? Oh, Nika, well, you're reaching. You're so reaching, Nika, because Dylan was probably just messaging Eric to see if the girls were there. But she told us that the girls were there at 1:45. So why are you texting him at 2:10? See how people like to defend Dylan? I don't have a problem with that. I have problems with inconsistencies. Be consistent. Be objective. I don't care. I've told you guys I don't have a horse in this race. I don't lose anything, whether Bryan Kohberger goes to jail or not. I'm literally here for the truth. That is it. Okay? People saying that he's cooked, that justice is coming. I'm like, I pray to God that justice is coming, because all that I've seen so far is injustice. All that I have seen so far is cops lying on the stand. All that we have seen is cops lying in their PCA to the magistrate judge, leaving things out, leaving important statements out. For example, that Dylan was drunk. For example, that Dylan thought maybe it was a dream. They magically left that out. That is considered lying. Leaving those important details out of the PCA is considered a lie. So yes, Payne lied to the magistrate judge only to get that PCA signed off, those search warrants signed off. Without that being signed off by the magistrate judge, there never would have been an arrest for Mr. Bryan Kohberger. That's what I'm going to tell you right now. And then what else have we seen that is disgusting and is disturbing? Every time I see their faces, I want to vomit. Okay, Payne and Mary pretending that they are idiots. Okay, they are not idiots. ladies and gentlemen, these two are just liars, in my opinion. They're lying through their big buck teeth, okay? They know what they're doing. It's very interesting that both cops, every time Ann Taylor is questioning them, what do they say? Well, I don't really remember. I don't really know if we have that. I don't really know if it exists. And then what does the defense do? Well, let me refresh your memory, motherfuckers. And then they pull out the paperwork and they're like, oh yeah, I remember now. Okay, this is a tactic that is often taught to people who are going to be standing at a trial, okay? Just use the I don't remember tactic because that is a way to defer responsibility. But I hate to see it. Active duty military, my whole family is law enforcement. Some of them are FBI. Some of them are DEA. They're all over. I was military. My brother, my sisters were all military. And then I see this. It's like, is this really what we are fighting for? To protect fucking lying, sick pigs. And I understand not all cops are that way. I know, because my family, most of them are good. Most of them are straight arrows, right? But this is disgusting. It's disgusting, and I'm tired of it. That's vicious, okay? And the fact that Judge Hippler just kind of stands there and still sneers and smirks every time Ann Taylor has something to say is also fucking disgusting and vicious and disturbing. But what do I know? I'm just a girl. I don't remember anything either, shit. I don't know anything either. Right? Talk about an easy job. These people, Payne and Mowry, are getting paid by the taxpayers. Remember, we the people, okay, me and you, we fund them. Without us, there is no them. We work our asses off. We pay taxes to pay these people to do their fucking job, not to sit their fat ass with their buck teeth on the stand to lie through their teeth. When we have a case where 4 beautiful people have been deleted off the fucking planet, the very least they could do is be honest and try to get to the bottom of this in an honest fashion, right? But why would anybody frame Bryan? Why? That makes no fucking sense. You guys are reaching. Hello? Have you been living under a fucking rock? Maybe you should get out your rock. Because if you have not actually followed this case, and I mean followed people like me and followed, small YouTubers that actually cover the legal documents, you haven't followed this case at all. If you're following the major channels that are going to just spew the narrative and forget all the important details, you don't really know shit about this case. I'm going to tell you right here, right now. I'm sorry that I hurt your little feelings, but you don't know anything about this case. Again, when you're watching these massive news channels, they're only going to tell you the basic things. Bryan Kohberger, autistic. Bryan Kohberger doesn't want to be responsible for the crime. Bryan Kohberger, what else? I was framed. Right? That's all you're going to hear from them. Oh, this is another stupid comment. Okay, Bryan went from being autistic to somebody planted it to there to frame him. I wonder how many more tricks in the book he can use to claim he did do it. What is crazy to me about hearing these types of comments, what is disturbing to me, is how many people trust law enforcement blindly, okay? And this is extremely concerning as somebody who has both active duty background, military background, and a psychology background. You know why? Because this is literally what we were trained, what I was trained to find. When I was in the world of psychology, guys, you've all heard about the study, right? The study where they used figures of authority to brainwash and abuse people. You've never heard of that? Okay. It was a real study. It was unethical, and that would never be allowed hopefully never be allowed in 2025. Highly unethical things were happening in the Stanford prison experiment. Go listen to that. Go learn about that. Go learn about history, because it's showing us exactly what is happening here in the real world in 2025. No justice, figures of authority lying, and not to mention, guys, law enforcement, time and time again, has been shown, cops have been shown to plant evidence. So the fact that people here are like, that would never happen. That would never happen again. If you think that, then you have been living under a rock. And sorry to break it to you, but this case has been highly politicized from the beginning. Anywhere you have money, you need to follow that money. And in this case, we had politicians donating, what was it? How many millions did they donate? Why do you think that is? Oh, it was from the good of their heart. You know, they're just good-hearted politicians. Wow, you really are living under a rock. Right? Politicians donate money because they're good people. We love them. Okay, follow the money. Follow the money. That's all I'm going to say. And people are saying, this is a joke. This must be a joke from Man Taylor trying to defend Bryan Kohberger. This is really going to piss off Judge Hippler. And I'm like, you probably might piss him off. But at the end of the day, you know, she should be allowed to do what she's going to do. She needs to do her job to defend him to the fullest. So, you know, the Constitution, constitutional rights, you know, the thing that we're supposed to have in the US of A. And they're like, oh, but Nika, how can you believe him? How can you still trust him? You know, he's obviously trying to do this O.J. Simpson move. And I'm like, what? There is literally no evidence yet. All that we have heard from all the labs, all the lab results, all the lab documents is that the DNA is inconclusive. That basically means, in my opinion, that he is not guilty. Not guilty. Until we have DNA that is conclusive, how can people in an ethical, in a moral manner say this guy should get the DP? How is that ethical? How is that moral? Well, we know a lot of people don't have morals or ethics, right? But if you're going to put a man down, if you're going to delete him off the face of the planet, the very least that you could do is make sure that he actually committed the crime, right? This is not the defense getting desperate. This is the defense doing their job. Not to mention, if you've actually watched my videos, you understand the research that I have done in the last 2.5 years regarding Moscow Police Department. They are a corrupt police department with several corrupt apples. Okay, stop twisting my words. I never said that all cops are bad cops. I live in Chicago, downtown Chicago. Okay, we have some of the most corrupt police officers here. But I would take that any day over the creepy children of the corn Moscow Police Department cops any day. We have seen them commit so many crimes. And what has happened with those cops in Moscow Police Department? Oh my God, you're bad. You're a naughty cop. You just get a little slap on the hand. That's what's happened. I don't know about you, but if I lived in Moscow, I would not feel safe to roam the streets knowing that these cops are out there. For example, the Stickergate incident that I covered quite heavily. In fact, in the early days, I think I had stickers made for the Stickergate incident. It was horrific. And then we have Moscow cops harassing young college girls on video. And people are like, he's lying, he's reaching. You know, the cops would never do that. Babe, you need to wake up, because if you think all cops are good cops, if you think that you can trust law enforcement just because they wear a badge and carry a gun and went to their training for however many weeks, if you think you can trust them, you have much larger issues, right? And this is not about making you OCD. This is not about making you paranoid. It's just about common sense. Again, common sense is something that a lot of people are lacking, unfortunately. So I really think that that is a quality that a lot of people need to work on, right? So guys, I'm done ranting for the day. I did kind of want to review here one of the new documents that was dropped. It's a 17-page document, but this, I'm going to go through like one sentence, right? I have not skimmed through everything yet, but I'm on page, let's see if I can find it. Can I find it? Oh, here it is, page 10, right? It is the state's response to the defendant's motion in limine to exclude the IgG evidence. We know the IgG evidence is botched. We know that a lot of the tests that came out are inconclusive. And not to mention, they never really further tested the 2 unknown male DNAs in the house, right at the crime scene. They never tested that further for one reason or another. That definitely should be questioned. But I wanted to talk about the suppressed Othram standing operating procedures. And this is the state saying, well, we need to basically include the IgG. We want to include the IgG. It doesn't matter if it was inconclusive. And they're saying it's because the defense has not been able to show that the state suppressed Othram standard operating procedures because those documents have been withheld from disclosure to the defendant pursuant to a protective order. And it's like, again, if you're the state and you're saying that the IgG should be included at this trial, then why are you not releasing those standard operating procedures belonging to Othram Labs, right? Why is it under a protective order? This is literally an SOP. An SOP, you guys know I'm a scientist now. I work in a laboratory. Okay, in labs, we have SOPs, we have these fat books, standard operating procedures, and you follow them to a T. And if you don't, you as a scientist could end up in jail, right? So it's basic structure in laboratory settings, in scientific settings. But here, the state is being fucking sneaky. They're hiding these SOPs, these normal documents. Why are they hiding those normal standing operating procedures? If the laboratory did everything like they were supposed to do, why wouldn't they release that? Why? Is it because releasing the SOP could give Ann Taylor reason to be like, wait a fucking minute. These are the things that you are supposed to do. This is what's listed in your standard operating procedure, but you did the fucking opposite. I personally think that is why the state is suppressing Othram's standard operating procedure. But that's just me. What do I know? I'm just a girl. How are you guys doing in the chat? This is me not caffeinated. Oh my God. I just remembered. What am I drinking today? The blood of my enemies. Just kidding. Water. This is gross. I need to wash this. See, guys, I'm not perfect. This looks disgusting. And Taylor's a queen. Chantal, hello. Hi, Nikki. Welcome. Nikki and Hoppers, you guys are always here so on time. Thank you, guys. I love when you guys are all here supporting me. Hello, Nadine. Hi, Big Plants Little City. Emily from England. Hi, Dawn. Hello, Leah. And CT. Hi. Happy Thursday, everyone. Happy Thursday, Jim. Hello, Sassy. Welcome to this live. Hi, Holly. Yes, Bryan was framed. That's what it's looking like to me, right? And again, I don't care if he did it, if he's found guilty. Okay. You're not going to break my heart, but I want to see the actual evidence. And I pray that the jury has common sense and asks a lot of questions. Because when we look at the average American, at the statistics of, reading comprehension and reading and literacy and basic things that Americans should know, it's not looking so hot. So yeah, I'm a little bit concerned because we could all be in the situation Bryan Kohberger is in. And if you have a bunch of idiots that can't read past 6th grade level, much less have reading comprehension, you know what reading comprehension is, right? You read a small snippet and then you actually understand what you read. Most Americans have horrible reading comprehension. That's not me saying that. Those are statistics. So yeah, I would be concerned. But all we can do is just pray that he gets some people that are not average or below average, right? Hello, Suds. Welcome, Suds. Holly Berry. Never has he ever blamed his autism. No, he hasn't. But the guilters are going to twist the truth, right? Hello, Sloth Pajamas. Hello, Jolly Brown. Hello, Aero PMCST, a lot of letters. Suds, not to mention the guy in a black ski mask that attempted to stab that girl in the bandfield before Bryan was even in Idaho. Yeah, exactly. But let's pretend that didn't happen, right? Patty says most countries do not prosecute crimes based solely on touch and transfer DNA. Exactly, they don't. But again, your average American doesn't know or understand that, okay? They're too busy watching whatever major news channel you want to pick and, picking lint off their belly button and eating Cheetos. Nadine, I know this is a bit off topic now because we're talking about BK now, but I just saw another clip with 3 guys, and damn, it looks like the one guy has his pants on. I'm confused. Randy, hello. It's wild out there, Kellyanne. Hello, D Smalls. Kellyanne, you look so pretty today. Thank you so much. Valerie, hello. The parents should want to insist on them getting the real perps and not go with the narrative. Yes, please go watch the video I made of Steve Gonsalves just a couple days ago, I think. It was very weird to see Mr. Gonsalves's reaction to the 911 call being released. I thought it was weird. That's my opinion. Thank you, Nadine. She says, Niga always looks beautiful. Oh, thank you. You guys are so sweet. Hello, Chantal. Chantal says, Ann Taylor is a queen. Dawn, don't. BH8N, because it's a violation of our rights. Exactly. I'm so tired of stupid guilters who just watch NN in disgrace. Exactly. I agree with Linda. I'm with you, Linda. Misty Blue, hi. Hello, Nika. Exactly how desperate to look what he may have put in his cart. Exactly. And we must remember that the Amazon account was also shared by the entire Kohberger family. So you're going to tell me that you want to go analyze all those clicks because you couldn't find anything to make him look guilty in his purchases. You want to go analyze all of the clicks that were ever done on the Amazon account, done by potentially 4 people. And then how are you going to pin certain clicks on Bryan? Like, let's say, for example, which he was not, I'm just using this as an example. For example, if he was, or somebody in that home, in that Amazon account was browsing at K-bars, how do you know it was Bryan versus his mom? You don't know. That's why using clicks is extremely dangerous. And I'm going to be very concerned if the judge allows the clicks. That's going to be fucking idiotic. That's going to make me want to delete my Amazon account. Again, all of these websites, guys, they are tracking everything. Every little movement that you do can and will be used against you in court. So be very careful what you're clicking on. And I'm personally concerned because you guys know I like true crime. I like psychology. Of course I'm going to click on some weird things. Of course I'm going to Google some odd searches, right? It's typical. Hello, Susan. Hi, Dean. Valerie, yes, he should not have applied for work there. Too late now, right? Hi, Maria Gutierrez. Hello. Lynette, Eric Gower was Bryan's neighbor. Wife was in Moscow. He invented a machete. That looks like a vacuum. Dylan called him. He was last to see them. Believe he was not alone. The sheet that has a mixture of liquid DNA excluding Bryan. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, how is it that the guilters don't have any guilt about themselves, still pinning this on Bryan, now knowing that there was no DNA of Bryan in all of these lab tests? Everything was inconclusive, right? So either way, guys, there's so many of you in the chat. I'm sorry I don't have time to go through all of them, but thank you all who commented. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment, please leave a like. I will try to answer all of your guys' questions. And for those of you who have asked me, where can I send you information about whatever crime or the IDAHO4, you guys can always find me on Instagram in the description of every video. So once I'm done here, I will post my Instagram on this video as well in the description, but if you don't want to wait, you can always go check that out on another video and you can send me the information there. So thank you guys all for joining me. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye. Take care.